welcome back to my channel. Today we will do something a little bit different. I'm gonna review with you guys how this project works, and I know a lot of you love this project. This is one of the projects that are featured here on Three.js homepage that I'm really proud of. I will be reviewing with you guys how I created this, how it works so far, because I'm rebuilding this in React 3 Fiber. And we have a lot of interesting concepts here. So without any further ado, let's get started. And the code is right here. And we can take a look at how it works. We have the birds. So those birds that you can see here, they are flying around. They are a simple GLB file with the animations embedded. So I created this in Blender. And as you can see, they are pretty simple shapes. They don't have any volume because they don't need to. They are just for animation, and I'm changing the velocity, of course, and playing them a little bit faster and then moving across the screen. So this is the first thing that I want to show you. The second one, it is the Windland itself. So the 3D model, I would say it's really complex. Like these days, we can do something like this in a more optimized way. I will be using instances for creating all of those trees. But at the time that I created this model, I ended up creating the trees using Blender. So the entire scene is here. As you can see, all of the wireframe mode. It is really complex. I would not recommend these days doing something like this, because of course you can create those buildings and then use textures and normal maps to fake all of this volume. You don't need meshes for that, because from distance you can barely notice they have this amount of details. So most of these things could be textures only. They don't need to be real meshes like I am using here. But in this case, again, this was my first project. I ended up using a solid mesh to create all of these details. Going back into the structure, the app contains everything, and this is what you have. So basically you have two components only in the first place. Three, because we have the canvas. So the canvas, it is the container component for everything Three.js related. And also we have the Windland overlay. So the overlay is just the HTML, as you can see here. When I comment it out, we remove the interface, and at this point the interface is really simple. I will implement this night mode in the next video. So if you want to see more details on how to implement night modes on projects like this, please subscribe and remember to sign the bell so you can get notifications when the new video is ready. So the Windland overlay this, and of course the Windland component, it is the entire Three.js related scene. And inside the Windland, we have the components itself. So of course we have the city model, the lighting environments, the particles floating around, the birds, that component that I showed you, the post-processing effects, the sky, and the orbit controls. So the city model, nothing new. You have the city. When I comment it out, you can see it moves the city. I would say one of the most important components of this entire project, it is the environment lights, because without it, as you can see, everything becomes kind of a dark mode or a foggy mode. But this is because all of those meshes, they are using emissive material. That's why they are glowing, because I have the post-processing effects. If I remove post-processing effects, then you can see what happens. So we don't have any lights anymore because they are not shining. So what I'm making them look like shining, it is because the post-processing effects that I have for the glowing effects. And of course the lights and environment has the entire light system for this project, which is, by the way, pretty simple. It is just dry default light system. So I'm using the preset, I'm setting a different intensity, and then I have some light formers that I've showed you before how to use. So you can check my previous videos. I'm talking about light formers in another video already. And inside particles, this is another component that I already shared with you guys what it's doing in another project, the pill-shaped project with the medical stuff and the DNA inside. You can check that same component. I would say that one is even better for performance, but it's pretty simple. It is just creating a particle system, and then we have the way we animate. Of course, we can change, for example, the scale, or we can change the size of the particles and we can make them bigger. By the way, this is exactly what I did for the DNA chain capsule project. I changed the size, so it is pretty simple. Then we have the birds component. The birds component is just a bunch of meshes doing the animation that I showed you before. We have the post-processing effects, and it is in this one. I just want to show you, for example, how important the autofocus is in this case, because look at what happens when I change the bokeh scale. It really looks like a game. It is so beautiful. I love playing with these kind of effects. And yeah, I'm using a different value here just because I think it is blurred enough to be beautiful, but not too much to ruin the performance and the application. The sky component, this one is responsible for all of those clouds that we have. So if I comment out it, you will see that we have no floating sky anymore and no floating clouds. Pretty simple. And then we have the orbit controls. Every detail counts. For example, the fog being used here, if I remove it, you will see that immediately it looks not so good. So the fog is helping to add that touch of color and hiding the cut from the frustum culling that we have here. So again, all small touches. See, using the fog with the same color with the background, you can hide details that were previously showing up and making the entire scene not looking that good. So fog is really important, especially for map projects like this. And one important thing about the orbit controls, because you guys asked what I'm doing, what is different, and to be honest, it is the exact same thing that I always do. In this case here, I will probably switch the orbit controls by something else, probably the map controls. So on dry, you also have the map controls. What is the difference? The map controls, when you click, you can walk. And if you want to rotate around, you need to right click and drag. And I think for projects, like city projects like this, map controls is much better. And again, look how easy it is to change from one orbit type of controls to another one using React 3 Fiber. If I had to do this on vanilla Three.js, you need to do a lot of stuff because you need to update your imports, then you need to change all of the properties and etc. So it is not that easy. In here, because it is all encapsulated inside the React Dry library, you just switch one by the other and then you can experiment. And actually, I think it looks great. It is much better than the orbit controls because now when I click, I can walk around instead of rotate. And if I want to rotate, I can right click and drag. But yeah, with this, I think we can close up this video. In the next video, I will show you a little bit more about the night mode. Probably I will create the night mode with you guys like in a live session so you can understand. And probably this will be the replacement for the Windland that we have so far. But if you are interested, just go there in the Three.js homepage, click in the Windland link, and then you will see. And of course, I will be creating all of this again, but now with React 3 Fiber because this one is vanilla Three.js. but the performance on this one, new one, will be much better. Like in this one here, which is vanilla. As you can see, for example, the trees, they are not bending, they are shaking. See the difference? So here, the code that I created, the shader, the dynamic shader that I created for the trees, at that time, it was harder for me to create one that bends the trees. So they are shaking. Now, in the new version, they are properly bending. They are not shaking like that. So this is more natural, much better. And the performance in the new shader is also much, much better. Of course, I will also create this behavior. I've shown you before, but I will be recreating it. And of course, the night mode, which is something that it's really incredible in this project and I really enjoy. Like that car, the helicopter, they light the terrain as they go and as they pass by. And this is all post-processing, nothing too extreme and difficult to do. But again, small details, the way we set up things makes a huge difference. So here you can see the helicopter passing by and lighting up everything. And you can turn on back night mode all in real time. And we also have, like if you go really quickly, you can see the foggy mode, foggy night mode. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you very much for your visit. Please subscribe and see you next time. Bye bye.